Good morning. Welcome to the show. Myself and Brady Huck are going to talk about financial markets and we're going to talk about ag markets. We have a lot to get into it. But before we talk about financial markets, we look at ourselves as a financial channel that loves agriculture. And recently we lost one of the greats, one of the great financial icons. And he had a saying that I really liked. We're going to pop that up there. Charlie Munger. Those who keep learning will keep rising in life. Charlie Munger. The reason we do the ATI ProMedia live stream free to the world every day is so we can keep educating folks. It also keeps us on our A game, and it's discipline. Getting up every day and doing a live show is it's a little bit of work, but it's fun, and we do it for you. Real quick before we get in the show and Brady Huck comes in, we have some news that came out. We also asked that if you subscribe to the channel, you're allowed to ask us a question. We can pop that question up. If it's complicated or deep, we can get back to you. And with that, Brady Huck, we got a lot of things going on today, my friend.
Good morning, Tommy. Yes, we do.
You're looking good. I see that you have a new camera,
Got
and
a
it,
new
yeah.
camera, new toys to play with.
Well, speaking of things moving, we have one of our toys that you love to trade is cattle, and that broke, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. We had a little financial news come out this morning. I noticed I love talking about the 10-year every day. We're going to talk about the 10-year. You know why? Because it's moving. This morning, the bond market's absolutely on fire. When I look at my prices, the bond, I was going to say 30 year, the bond market, you have your 30 years, your 10 years, your 5-year, your 2-year, you have T-bills, you have Fed funds, you have all these instruments that trade at the Chicago Board of Trade, which is now all the Chicago Merc. But in a year when all we talk about is inflation, 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 think of where we were a few years ago, Brady. Remember when it was, it's transitory, it's transitory, it's
Hmm.
transitory. Oh, we have an election. Okay. Right after election, inflation wasn't transitory anymore. Now, if you would have told me a few months ago, like 4 weeks ago, the 10-year was at 505. Now it's at 429. What's that mean? People can borrow money at lower levels. It's going to be of a big benefit, and it's doing some interesting things. I know we have some good charts of it and stuff. We can get into that in the financial charts, but real quick, as you all know, if you're involved in December futures, it's time to get out. December futures first notice day is Thursday. I think yesterday we posted it was Wednesday. What we mean by that is when we get emails at Advanced Trading, we're getting emails last week. Get people out of December futures. Make sure you call all your clients with December futures. It's time to roll. It's time to get out. We can get to a big, in depth conversation about the carry. Mr. Dave Lechtenberg, after today's close, is actually going to record a segment with myself, and we're going to get that out to people.
Good.
And he's going to really deep dive. Dave
Dave's a
worked at,
legend. He's
he is a
an eye.
legend. He is a legend. And he's worked at the elevator system for 17, 18 years. He's now worked at advanced trading for 18 years. So Dave's my go-to guy on how's this work at the elevators? How's this work with farmers we're working with? And we go from there. Okay, real quick, should we get in the PowerPoint, Brady, or is there any color you want to add on cattle? Because I know we had a lot of things happen there yesterday.
Yep. I mean, from on the cattle front, it's been a wild couple days. Friday's nasty sell-off, thin markets. Monday, another sell-off, and a great bounce yesterday. We're up a little bit today, this morning, on the feeder side, but we've got some moving averages above us that are probably going to be a little bit of resistance. So I'm not convinced that it's turnaround anytime soon, or I guess I'm questioning the strength of this move and where we'll be at. But it's good to see the bleeding stop. So that's about the extent of the color I would add on the cattle side of things. Nice bounce. The bleeding stopped for a while. Elevated prices. Um,
Absolutely. And you are a registered agent. You're allowed to sell insurance, you're a futures broker. We're not
yeah.
even going to go into the rumor mill. A lot of the rumor mill that I did see, so I say we're not going to go into it, then I have to go into it. Is there any
Yeah.
way if we could prove if any of that's true, or is that something that you'll find out later? I mean, if there's a big group who really has a bad position on when would one find out? When would we go from rumor to facts?
That's a good question. I mean, and
It's a
to your
fair
point,
question, right?
it's yeah, it is. Yeah. And there's just a lot of stuff behind the scenes that I don't know that we'll ever be privileged to know because um, it's some the underwriter business is private business a little bit and be like Amazon telling you how they ship boxes everywhere and all their trade secrets, in my opinion. So I don't know that we know all the details behind it, but at the end of the day, understanding how insurance works. I mean, whether it's auto insurance, home insurance, or livestock insurance, there's some fundamentals there on how they manage their risk. Um, to that extent. But we could get really, really deep in the weeds here. At the end of the day, for producers, I think there's some good products out there for them to manage risk. And I think a lot of the squeaking and whining comes from guys who don't have positions on and didn't manage risk. And those are choices that they make.
Right. I would concur. When you're long, which everyone's long something if you're in agriculture, there are people who are caught short, right? Like if you're a seed company, you need to buy seed and stuff. There are end users who always need to buy. But if you're long and you're in a bull market, you'll always find the fundamentals on why we should go up. And the wild thing about the bull market in cattle was, of course, that we're making highs when the fundamentals were so bullish. But if I know it and you know it and the people watching this know it and the whole world knows it, that's not a secret. So the people who were long
Exactly.
and unhedged saying, there's a bull market. Yes, but the world knows that.
It's a
And the
futures
smart money
market.
started to accumulate shorts.
Hmm.
And hate's not a nice word. I dislike to be long a product in commodities and have the funds long and wonder how we're both going to get out. You know how we both get out, Brady? Friday's trade,
Yeah.
Monday's trade. That's what it looks like when the
Stairs
funds
up.
go to get out
Yep.
and the
Stairs
farmer
up,
goes get out.
elevators down. Yep. And
Yeah.
it happens
Just
quicker than you think.
yeah, just a little
Absolutely.
color on that. We weren't thinking we are going to talk there, but we went on that anyway. Let's get in that PowerPoint.
You bet. Yeah.
Well, the 10-year yield, we're talking about that earlier, and that's it's coming down. This is goes back for a few years, and it's fun to watch. We I'm happy. I'm happy for producers. I'm happy for anyone wanting to buy a home, wanting to buy a car. I'm happy for America. Interest rates are hard to deal with. They're still going to be elevated. Don't kid yourself. If you look at that bottom channel to the left over there, we spent a lot of time at a lower price. We're just not as uh, the people running around saying that operating is going to be 12% next year. That's not true. It was around 10. It's at 9. People with better credit could be at a better level. So for farmers, it's less bad. For anyone borrowing money, it's less bad. The cattle guy, Brady, I got to go
Hmm.
back to cattle guy. Not only did he have this recent swoosh down in cattle, but it's never been more expensive to produce a pound of beef. Is that correct?
Right. Yeah. And you look at guys buying feeders to put them on feed, and what those 8 weights have to do at 1,800 pounds a piece, what they have to do to perform and offset if you're borrowing the money. And even if you're just parking cash there, what that cash could do in the open market. You're going to make 45 bucks a head putting that cash in a CD, $1,800 in a CD. If you're borrowing the money, that steer has to make you 70, 80 bucks just to offset what that interest cost is.
You know
So
what? It might be a great time to be all hat and no cattle.
I love that saying. That's a good
All right,
one. Yeah.
let's get to the next slide. We're going long on this show. U.S. dollar index, and this will affect commodity markets. U.S. dollar index has been trending lower. Did you put up is that a weekly?
Yeah, weekly chart there. Yep. So looking back over there's 2 years of watching the dollar there, in 2022 to 23, as we're hiking rates there, the dollar's climbing, and we got it bouncing back and forth here over 23, but rolling back to the downside here the last few weeks.
Sounds good. Next chart we have is gold, and that makes sense. This gold chart, you see the dollar come down like that, and you see gold going up.
Yeah.
Gold, a couple years ago, or in early 22, I noticed that spike up in gold. I'm thinking that spike up in gold on 22, that was when the invasion of Russia into Ukraine, if I had to think right, that
Yep,
spike.
it is that
And
first
we're real
Ukraine to.
close to taking that out. So the good news for today's show is if you think all commodities are going down or the spreads are widening, then obviously you're not long gold. What most people watching this show is they're long corn, they're long beans, they're long wheat, they're long cattle, they're long hogs. We don't have a lot of gold bugs on the show, but I do have a dear friend who I used to trade with in the pits, and he sold a business for a lot of money and he put it all in gold. This is not a recommendation. I'm just telling you what this guy told me he was
Was it
doing.
under his mattress, Tommy? Was it?
He's a little conspiracy theory
Okay.
anyway, but his name's Tom also. So shout out to Tom. But this is just what he said. He wanted to be in gold. And in his mind, to his benefit, he said, I said, why didn't you just go to Bitcoin? He said, well, I can put an ounce of gold under my mattress. I don't know what the heck a Bitcoin is. And that goes back to Charlie Munger. Charlie disliked Bitcoin. He thought it was a total fraud. We'll maybe tomorrow throw up a quote of that. Next slide.
Good.
What do we have, my friend?
Dees March corn spread, and
Break
this
it
has
down.
been moving. And we're at 22 cents carry from the Dees to the March, which a lot of positions aren't in the Dees, but there are still some positions in the Dees, and the market's paying you more carry to roll that out if you're short. Um, I look back and look at this and say, if I sold corn in April, May, June, and if I sold it against the March at 9 cents carry, where should that hedge have been? Thinking about some of those things as a farmer, where should my hedge be placed? And you look further out into the May or the July, and I don't think the board's telling you to go out and have your hedges in May or July yet. Definitely not past May, in my opinion. But the carries widened. Our commercial brokers talk about this and deal with this a lot. The what the river's full carry, I think it's 30 cents. It can continue to widen here into tomorrow. But the market's definitely paying you to store that corn and telling you to store it into March.
Interesting point with that interest rate coming down, that might help people a little bit. Now, this spread also going down, Brady, to add a little to this, is we have that Panama Canal
Yeah,
effect. I think I read a tweet this morning. Someone put it out, and I'll fact check that every vessel that goes through the Panama Canal, that 54 million gallons of fresh water are used. I'll double check on that. Let's talk about that tomorrow.
boy.
And then we have the river situation. Of course, I'll be in Bettendorf, Iowa today, speaking for Whipple's Hybrids over in at the casino in Davenport. So when I drive over the I-74 bridge, I'll take a look at the water levels in the Mississippi and report all back to you tomorrow. What else do we have, my friend?
I think that's kind of it for the show here, Tommy. Great show today. Glad you could join us.
Take your right hand and put it on your left shoulder. Brady Huck. We can folks can get a hold of us if you missed the live show. You could watch it on Spotify, or you could listen to it on Spotify. Some shows you can watch on Spotify. I
Really?
watched Joe
Yeah.
Rogan on Spotify. You can listen to us on Spotify, listen to us on Apple, watch us on YouTube Live. Of course, we'll run at the bottom how people get a hold of us. They can get a hold of us by 1-855-737-FARM. You can email us at info@ATI ProMedia. Again, Dave Lechtenberg doing a special for advanced trading clients. And with that, I'd see if we have any more questions or comments.
We do have.
We do. This is, you gotta love this guy. Yeah, Toms are always a little different. That made my day. And you never know what someone's going to say when they call the hotline.
Yeah, we love our Toms, though.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, thank you. Everyone have a great day. Special message from my wife, Gina G. She is also part of the ATI ProMedia team. Everyone have a good day. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks for joining us. We're here every day, 9 a.m. Central. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.